hope you're all well and welcome back. If you're new around here, then hello, it's lovely to meet you, and if you are returning, thank you very fucking much for coming back. My name is ALANNA and I'm a 35-year-old lady, and on this channel we predominantly like to speak about beauty, skincare, hair care, lifestyle, vloggery bullshit with a liberal sprinkling of sarcasm, cynicism and honesty thrown in on top. Now today this is going to be a get ready with me. This is the look I have created. It is using Pantone's colour of the year, which is Vivid Magenta, and I thought I'm going to do a monochromatic look of a kind of magenta, and I fucking love the way it's turned out. It's not an everyday look, it's not one of the one you're wearing at fucking Tesco or anything like that, but I had a lot of fun creating it. So let's get the YouTube formalities out the way. There's a subscription button in the corner. If that sounds like your kind of bullshit, give it a little thumbs up as well, because it does help the channel. And if you want to see me ramble on about motherhood, where the channel's going, what I would like to achieve in 2023, if anything, and create this look while I baffle on about all that stuff, then just keep on watching. Alright, so today I'm doing a little impromptu, this evening I should say, I'm doing a little impromptu get ready with me. I always love to look at the Pantone colour of the year. I think it was last year when it was like that grey and yellow, and the year before I think it was like a periwinkle blue colour. This year I'm sure it is Vivid Magenta, is that right? Let me just look it up for you. I'll just stick it here so you can see it. And I feel like magenta, it's red, but it's leaning kind of pink into more of a purple than it is red into like a fiery red, you know, orange. So I'm gonna do something like that today. I'm probably gonna do a little bit of a monochromatic look, but I'm also just gonna sit and have a little chat with you, a little update on how things are, and just some general stuff that has been on my mind lately. So, you know, if you're into that kind of thing, you might still want to watch, even though it's not a wearable look. I'm not going to go into what I'm putting on my face of everything, but if you look down the description box, I will put everything that I put on my face. Some of it probably isn't available anymore. Like, this is one of the NYX soft matte lip creams. It is in Prague. It's this kind of magenta colour, so I'm going to use that as a little bit of an eye base, but we're not going to go into any great detail. This isn't a tutorial. I just wanted to come on and have a little spew of things and how I've been lately. So I suppose the reason I wanted to come on and have a little spew is because when I first started YouTube, if anybody's been here for a period of time, you probably already know this, but I started my YouTube as a little bit of a video diary. Those videos never necessarily went up on YouTube, but after my dad died, I kind of was like, do you know what, I'm not someone to sit down and write my feelings out. I'm not someone that could really do that. I tried to do blogging, I was terrible at it. I'm just not someone who can really portray their feelings and emotions that way. I'm better just saying it out loud. So for that reason, I thought, you know what, I've been watching YouTube for years. I've probably been watching YouTube since it first started. I watched like the original kind of like Pixie Woo, Panacea, what do you call her, X Sparkage, Leisha from X Sparkage. I did watch Blair and whatever her chops was, the American ones. I didn't really watch like Jacqueline Hill or Jeffree Star or anybody like that. I never really got into them. I think they were more 2015, 16. That was a little bit past when I started watching it. But I watched some of the like original, like Michelle Phan as well. All these people that were around ages and ages ago, before being an influencer or even that kind of marketing was a twinkle in anybody's fucking eye. And I always loved it because it gave me that kind of, you had a relationship with these people even though you didn't really know them. And that to me kind of worked because I wasn't somebody who had a hell of a lot of friends. I moved about a lot as a kid and stuff like that, and I didn't have any long standing, like lasting friendships. And then when I got into my teens and 20s, again, I moved around a lot. I've been all over the place in the UK anyway. I've never really lived abroad, but I've been all over the place. Now I do have, I can count in one hand, like maybe 3 close friends. I do have someone that, you know, I could pick the phone up to if I needed to speak to someone, all that kind of stuff. Don't worry about me. But I'm someone that's always like kind of kept my guard up a little bit, always been a little bit like, oh, I don't really know if I want to let people know that kind of stuff. So it's dead weird that now I'm like, oh, you know what, YouTube. But I feel more comfortable sitting, chatting, getting things out and speaking to people online because sometimes they're just a little bit detached from what is actually going on. So what is actually going on, I hear you ask? Nothing in particular, if I'm honest with you. But the reason I really wanted to come on and start chatting and stuff like that was because I feel like, obviously for the past year anyway, I have been on here, I've been doing this, I've been doing that. I've been doing like Instagram and YouTube and stuff for years, but I feel like since the pandemic, we've all had a little bit of extra time in our hands. Like, we weren't necessarily at work. I was still at work actually, but there was different reasons why people couldn't do other stuff with their time, so they spent a little bit more time on social media. And because of that, I then obviously fell pregnant towards the end of coming out of the pandemic. I feel like I've done a lot of things, like I've created quite a little bit of content and stuff. Obviously when I was really sick in pregnancy, I didn't really feel up to it, but I feel like I've done quite a lot of stuff on here. And I enjoy doing stuff on here. Like, it's not a chore for me, this is a hobby and I thoroughly enjoy it. And I feel like since having Jack, I obviously haven't had as much time to do things, but I've still continued to put out a bit of content and all that kind of stuff. And whenever I've been like, oh god, like I've not managed to do that this week, I've not managed to do this, the first opinion that people always have, be it like close friends and family members, my partner Alan, or people that I do know via social media, is don't worry about it, it's not real life, like go and just enjoy your time. And although I really appreciate that and I totally understand it, like don't just get yourself totally sucked in to online life, I also am a little bit like, but you know what? This is my escapism. And I think I kind of mentioned that before. I can't remember what video it was, but I'm pretty sure I've kind of mentioned that before. And so when you don't get a chance to do the thing that is your escapism, you start to feel a little bit shitty, if I'm honest with you. And I just find it really funny how the first thing people jump to is like, oh, don't worry about all that stuff, just leave that, don't let it stress you. And I'm like, it's not actually stressing me. What's stressing me is not being able to do it, because it's always been really important to me to keep doing stuff like this, because this is me, this is who I am. If you had another hobby, I don't know, like say you're someone who loves going to the gym, or say you're someone who loves going swimming once a week, say if you're someone that likes to go burlesque dancing, like let's just, whatever fucking hobby you want, you go and play football, you like to climb mountains, whatever your hobby may be, you make fucking paper aeroplanes, I don't know. Whatever your hobby may be, that is kind of one of the parts of you before you become a parent. And it is so easy to get lost in parenthood. And there's nothing really wrong with that, it's absolutely fine. For me, this kind of stuff, doing my makeup, enjoying a bit of fashion, doing a bit of YouTube, social media, the interaction that I get from that is very much good for my mental health. And what I find really interesting is that if it was any other kind of hobby that you had, like say you were someone that liked to go to the gym or whatever, people are very quick to be like, oh, do you know what, get outside, get some fresh air, get a walk. I get it, go outside and touch some grass. But also, if sitting down and blabbering into a camera for an hour is the thing that is going to pull you out of a depression, then why is that not okay? I feel like, I'm not saying anybody specifically said to me it's not okay, but I just feel like it's like almost looked at as a little bit vain. It's almost looked at as a little frivolous, like it's silly, like as if, oh come on, like it's just social media, Instagram's not real life, blah blah blah. But if I turned around to, you know, my health visitor, my doctor, whoever, if I went to them and said, listen, I'm really struggling at the moment with parenthood, and they were like, well, you know, do you exercise or do you go to the gym? What do you do? Do you see friends? If I turned around to them and was like, well, yeah, do you know what, I'm managing to get out to the gym, blah, 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 they would applaud me for it. Not necessarily because I'm saying I think they would be like, do you know what, that's the absolute best thing for you, it's healthy, go and exercise. I just mean like people think, oh, you know, exercise equals better for your mental health. And for whoever that does equal that for, then I applaud you. I am not knocking the gym at all. I used to go to the gym quite frequently. I feel like when I was a single person, not necessarily single, I was still with Alan, but not a mother, I had lots of things that probably would aid my mental health. I liked going to the gym for health reasons because of the chronic illnesses I've got. I liked going to the gym because it made me feel fitter within myself. It's never ever necessarily been a reason of I need to lose weight so I need to go to the gym. It's never been that. For some people, like my Alan for instance, going to the gym, it's just that release for him. Like he needs to go to the gym because if he's feeling stressed, that like 20-minute run he does on the treadmill is where he's not thinking about anything that's stressing him. So that equals him having better mental health. For me, I was definitely always one of those people like, oh, I have to go to the gym. I would like drag myself there. I did feel better for going because I knew it was good for my health, but did it make me feel like, oh, I feel so good? Like mentally, did it make me feel better? I'm not entirely sure about that. I mean, yes, probably a little bit, but I also think as someone who had a little bit more time before becoming a mum, and not having as much to do as I do now, there were lots of other aspects that could have filled the gap that wasn't the gym, but I definitely made time to go to the gym because I knew it was good for me. I feel a little bit like, let's just use this for example. If you're somebody who's just had a heart attack, right? And you know, you're sorted out, the doctors have saved your life, you're all grand now, but they're saying to you, do you know what? You're a smoker, you should probably stop smoking. Do you know what? You need to maybe get to the gym a little more, you're a little unhealthy, your heart had some, you know, fatty deposits in it, whatever. Let's not get into technicalities here. But if that was the case, then you're gonna maybe sit and think, right, that's a priority for me because I have been told by health professionals that I need to stop smoking or I need to exercise more. So in your list of things to do in your life, you're gonna use that as a priority. And I imagine it's going to help your mental health as well because you're not worrying that you might have another heart attack. There's that for an example. I feel like if you need to go to the gym, you will go to the gym. But the point I'm trying to make is, in my list of priorities of life at the moment, obviously now Jack is number one up there. Obviously Alan is still remaining number one up there. The two of them equally are up there. But before Jack came along, it was very much like Alan was my number one and basically everything else that happened around that was just great. Nothing really to worry about. Like, I had my career, I wanted to advance my career slightly, still probably do want to do that, not knocking that back. But it kind of was like, there wasn't really, I had enough time to do anything I wanted. And now as a mother, I feel like, how is it that the whole day runs away with itself before you've even fucking realised it? And it doesn't mean to say like I'm constantly having to do something for Jack. Sometimes he can take a good nap, like he might take an hour and a half. Sometimes he might take 20 minutes. But if he takes a good nap, I think, right, I've got this time, I have to go and do stuff. And throughout the whole day, like maybe I've made a little list of things that I have to do. Maybe I made a list of 6 things. I've managed 2 of them. Where has the fucking time went? I'm sure most parents, anybody who's a parent, will probably be able to empathise with that. And the funny thing was, I did consider making a video back when, I was maybe like 3 months postpartum, 4 months postpartum. And I thought, oh yeah, I'll make a video updating people on how I'm feeling. I always had a C-section, so people want to know about that, blah, 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 and how I am. And the hilarious thing is, I'm looking back now thinking, thank fuck I did not make that video. And I will tell you as for why, because my views on what I might have said in that video compared to now, I would have fucking laughed at myself. Jack as a newborn, absolutely no problem at all. Like, slept well, ate not too badly. He never really took a bottle great, if I'm honest with you, but that's a whole other story. He had some reflux, so we were constantly covered in spew. But on the whole, great, no issues, absolutely fine. My section went very, very smoothly. I have a tiny scar. Post, like, body wise, like, I'm fine. Like, I don't feel any different. I have no side effects from my pregnancy, or, well, not like to look at me. I have no side effects from my pregnancy or my section. But I feel like if I was to look at a photo of myself from, let's just say, 10 years ago, would my body have looked like it did now, even if I hadn't had Jack? No, absolutely not. Because 10 years ago, I was probably running about like mad. I was out boozing, and I thought, better to spend the money on boozing a night out than buying some dinner. So, do you know, like, probably wasn't eating as well as I was. I probably did go to the gym about 10 years ago. I think that's when I probably really got into it. And I thought at that point, do you know what, this is really good for my diabetes, it's really good for my health, blah, blah, blah. And that's when I really started to get into it. And I really enjoyed it. Healthy eating, the gym, all that kind of stuff. I still am a very healthy eater. I've never been a terrible eater, if I'm honest with you. But what I'm saying is that my body 10 years ago to even a year ago, like before I'd had Jack, like before I was pregnant, the two they're not the same. Like, I was 34 years old when I became pregnant. I was never ever gonna look the same as I did 10 years ago. So my body post-pregnancy after having Jack, I'm absolutely fine with it. There's very slight changes, but on the whole, I'm absolutely amazed with how my body has bounced back. So on that side of things, nothing has changed postpartum 3 months to 9 months. That's the same. As for the, oh, do you know what, why do people worry about this so much? Like, it's fine, he eats, he sleeps, he does this. Like, I managed to get a shower daily, it's all fine. If I had said anything like that on a video and put it out, my God, would I be eating my fucking words now? Because as I said, I cannot find time to scratch my own fucking arse at the moment, and it's really getting me down. Not in a way like, you know, I'm considering to go on any medication or anything like that. I've not been to the doctors about it, but believe me, there has been on odd occasion when Alan has said to me, I think you need to go and speak to somebody about this, because I simply sometimes cannot fucking bear to speak to anyone. I can't bear to be around anyone, and it's not a matter of like, oh, do you know what, I don't fucking like you. Even Jack sometimes, I'm like, please just take him away from me. It's just an overwhelming feeling, and I'm saying this in the hope that some other people will fucking agree with me. It's like an overstimulation, like a stimulation that you never asked for. I sometimes used to feel it in work when I had a particularly busy shift, and you would find like there would be people constantly like, nurse, 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 Alanna, Alanna, nurse, nurse. People would be shouting on you all day long. And I would come in from work and Alan would be like, obviously, as lots of couples do, how was your day at work, blah, 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 I want to chat to me at 8 o'clock at night. And I remember I'd be out the house from 6:30 in the morning and getting in at 8 o'clock at night. And I would be like, just shut up, please be quiet. I don't want to talk to anybody, because all I've heard all day is my own name being shouted or nurse being shouted at me. Please don't speak to me. So sometimes I would feel that in work, but the difference was obviously you finish your shift, you come home, you go to sleep, you get up again the next day and face the next day, and then maybe you had 3 shifts in a row and that was you. You could have a few days off. You can't do that in motherhood. And it's just like a constant need, a constant want. And obviously Jack doesn't speak yet, so it's not like he's saying anything like that to me. And I know as he gets on to be a toddler, it's no doubt going to get worse. But you just feel overstimulated constantly. There's been a couple of times Alan said to me, do you know what, just go and chill out, you're so stressed, you're so stressed. And I'm like, I'm not stressed, I just feel like my brain is doing 100 miles an hour and I can't actually get it to stop. And weirdly, coming and doing stuff like this stops my brain doing that. It might just be coming and unloading what I'm actually saying to you just now, but also just coming and playing with a bit of makeup and not actually having to think about constant stimulation, either from a 9-month-old child or from what I have to do in a day, or from, you know, my partner or my mum phoning me or whatever it is, friends wanting to get in contact with me. The overstimulation of someone wanting you all the time and all the time trying to spin every plate to keep everybody happy, that is where I'm struggling. And actually coming and escaping and filming a little YouTube video is fucking heaven. So I love coming to do it and I want to keep doing it, but I am under no illusion that as time goes on it is going to become more and more difficult. And I suppose that's why I kind of was filming this video as well, to give you a little update on a New Year's situation and what's going to happen with this channel in the year coming. I am due to go back to work in the end of March, start of April. Jack was born at the end of March, and I am aware as well that that is a lot longer than a lot of women around the world get. I think I was actually speaking to Kelly ages ago after Jack was born, and she says, oh, you got your leave or whatever, and I was like, oh yeah, like I'm off for a year, and she was like, what? But Kelly lives in America, and obviously that is a long time. I am very, very lucky that here in the UK I can take 9 months or a year off. I think it might differ and depend on your employer. But in the NHS you can either take 9 months off at a slightly higher pay or the full year off, and they just spread it out over the full year. I am very, very thankful that I live in a country that allows that, and that I work for a service that is just the gold standard. That is just what everybody gets. There's no dispute. That is it. That is what you get if you've got maternity pay. So I have had a lovely 9 months with him, and I will continue to have that time with him, and I'm truly grateful. But like anything, all good things have to come to an end. And as he's gotten older, it has become more and more difficult to sit and make a YouTube video. When he was first born, I remember I was sitting on Instagram with him in the poo-poos, he would be sleeping and I'd be like, just doing a little bit of makeup, baby's in here, blah, blah, blah. It's just not a fucking option now. Like, there's absolutely no way I could do that. And you know, that way people will be like, do you know what, just make the most of it, you'll not get this time back, like you'll regret it, your baby's only a baby once. I know that, I'm fully aware of that. I am not for a second being like, do you know what, YouTube's more important than my son. Don't be a fucking nugget. But like I said, for your own mental health, for me, doing stuff like this is super duper important. Whatever that vice is that you have to remember who you are and what it is that you love, you've got to try and keep that. You really do. I think you've got to find time. I spoke to another friend, Kelly, a different Kelly, about this, and she is also a mother, and she was like, do you know what, I like to watch true crime dramas. I like to have a little bit of time when they're having a nap to do that. I like treating myself to go to the hairdresser. Like, whatever it is that you do, that you feel like, do you know what, hello, I am still me, I'm still ALANNA, I'm not just Jack's mum. Do you know what I mean? Like, I am a person in my own right. And another thing I'll say here as well, just before anybody wants to jump on and jump down my throat about this, I am not knocking anybody who is like, for me, my life is being a mum. This is my world, like, I am a mum, that is it. That is fine, because if that is the thing that makes you happy and really helps, and like you don't have any issues where, you know, mental health is giving you an issue of being in motherhood, then that is fine. Like I said, I am certainly not like postnatally depressed or anything like that, not at the moment anyway, but I feel like I could slip into stuff like that if I don't remember who I am. Maybe for you it's meeting your friends for a coffee, maybe it's going out for a little drink of wine with your fucking friends, whatever it is, you need to keep that, you need to remember that. And as I say, if you're someone who's like, do you know what, my kids are everything, and actually that's the thing that keeps my mental health really, really good, that is fucking fantastic too. But to each their own. We are all individuals and we are all human beings that have different needs. And there's also people who want to then make their content about their family, their baby, whatever it is they want to do. And I said way time and time ago when I was pregnant, don't worry, that's not what this channel will become. I'm not going to become mum and baby content. And it won't, because I just don't want to do that. There's two reasons why I don't want to do that. One, like I already said, I don't know, maybe Jack will get to like 8 years old and be like, Mum, I didn't want to be all over your channel and just be all about me. And two, I'm a little bit like, it opens you up to so much scrutiny from other people. Even me making this video could open me up to a lot of scrutiny. Like, people would be like, oh, she's a shit mum, she doesn't care about her son, she just wants to sit and make YouTube videos. Like, it opens you up to so much. Everybody's got an opinion on it, everybody wants to tell you the right way to do it, all that kind of stuff. And to be honest with you, that's probably why I haven't been as open about things on here, and not that I've been closed about it, but I've not really spoke about it on here quite so much, because I just wasn't ready to open myself up to any undue scrutiny from people that I didn't need. But I feel like as if having this kind of a chat, it might open up a few people to say like, oh, do you know what, you're a terrible fucking mother. Screw you guys, I don't really care, because I'm not a terrible mother. But also, I just felt like, even recently, I think I'd seen Raw Beauty Christie talking about the fact, she was like, do you know what, I don't really know how to get back on my channel and talk about beauty anymore because I've not been doing it recently. And you know what, I think she's really happy with that choice. But I also seen, like, this is me now fucking deciding her life for her, which is exactly what I'm saying people shouldn't do. But I also did see a little bit of sadness. Like, she's aware that she has lost something that she used to have, but what she now has that's replaced it is so much more important for her. So she's like, do you know what, but I still look at it longingly. Like, that was a really nice part of me, it was cool, it was nice, but I just don't have time for that now, and it's not benefiting me to take the time out to do that. So I totally appreciate that as well. So once I do go back to work at the end of March, beginning of April, there probably will be even less content on here, because it's going to be extremely difficult to film videos. At the moment I'm filming this video, Jack is in his bed, and there was two reasons for that. One, because I thought this is really the only time I'm going to get to do it. It is currently 8:30 at night, but also I need to get on and voice some of these feelings that I'm having. I need to get on and know that I'm not the only person feeling this way, right? Like, I can't be. There's loads of like mums that I've spoke to, they're like, no, absolutely, I'm the same. Sometimes I'm just like, please just take this small human away from me to give me 5 minutes peace. And it's not because you don't love your child, obviously not. It's more of a, like I said, an overstimulation. Like, you just feel so burnt out by the end of the day, because mentally you are constantly thinking of a million things. There is someone constantly needing you. And at the moment, actually, Jack is incredibly strong-willed and independent, fiercely independent. But is only 9 months old and clearly needs help with things. And it's so funny when I said it to my friend, I said it to my mum, I said it to someone else, I can't quite remember who, and all of them were like, I wonder where he gets that from. And I was like, fucking shut up. Like, I know it's me, I know I'm like that myself, that I need help and then I don't like to ask for it, but then I get like frustrated and annoyed because I've not asked for it, and oh, I'm terrible for it, I really am. So I totally understand where he gets it from. So at the moment, like, he's trying to get up and walk. He's 9 months old and he's trying to get up and walk. I don't know exactly, I've never had a child before. That's early, right? That's like a little bit early, I don't know. I think my mum said to me I was about 11 or 12 months before I was walking. Honestly, I will give Jack to the end of January. If he's not walking, I will eat my own shoes, I promise you. Like, he is just so up on his feet. It's like he missed the crawling stage almost. Like, he started crawling maybe footering about when he was 6.5, 7 months, right? He started doing all this kind of, I'm trying to crawl, and then all of a sudden he's just on his feet, pulling himself up constantly. And you can see him trying to get furniture walking, trying to get from one thing to the other to move about. But he obviously can't do it. And then when you try to help him, he gets really angry at you. And you're like, come on, I'm trying to help you, guy. So there's a lot of kind of, children just shout at you for a lot of things a lot of the time. And it's funny because if I'm in work, like I said, if I have someone who shout at me, nurse, whatever, and if they talk to me inappropriately or they shout and bottle at me, I can say, I'm excusing myself from this conversation, I will come back when you're ready to speak to me appropriately. You can't say that to a 9-month-old. And you're just a little bit like, mate, I'm trying to help you, like, stop it. And he's absolutely fucking gorgeous. Like, there's nothing about him that isn't absolutely beautiful. He is so lovely, but equally sometimes drives me absolutely fucking insane. We moved him into his cot at about 7 and a bit months because we were going on holiday, and we kind of thought, you know what, there's no point in moving him before we go on holiday. We may as well wait until we go after our holiday. And obviously we had a few grumpy nights, a few grumbly switchovers, like you expect that. And then he tried to settle, he was okay. And obviously then comes things like teething, things like that. He's got 2 teeth at the moment. I think top ones are coming in, but I'm not entirely sure. And all these other factors come into play. And before you know it, at least once, maybe twice a week, you're up all night and you're like, oh my God, what has happened? Because we never had that in newborn stage. We just didn't have that. He was always a very like just settled, like I had to wake him for feeds at newborn stage. So for me, this is like a super duper shock to the system. I feel like if he was born and he was like this, then I might be like, oh, do you know what, yeah, it's just life, it's just motherhood. But actually for me, I'm like, what the fuck has happened? Because my body was not used to this at all. And I know for a fact, like, it's going to change again. There's never ever going to be any kind of set rule nor rhythm. That's another thing, like routines. Do you have a routine? Do you not have a routine? Blah, blah, blah. It's completely up to you, I have to say. We have a little bit of a set routine. Like, we always have a little bedtime routine. We've probably had it since he was about 8 weeks old, which seems to work quite well. He has like set times he eats his breakfast, lunch and dinner, stuff like that. But I am aware they are subject to change. Like, those things aren't ever going to stay the same now. They never ever will. And for me, that's quite tough to handle. And it's weird saying that as a nurse because every day I'm going in, I don't know what's going to happen. But weirdly, I know what to do in that situation. When your child, you're a little bit like, mate, yesterday you enjoyed eating this, why today do you not fucking want to eat this? Like, and as I said, I know as he becomes older and becomes a toddler, that is only going to become worse. It's like, you liked this yesterday, why don't you like it today? You settled this way yesterday, why won't you settle this way today? You slept for an hour yesterday, why are you sleeping for 10 minutes today? And it means that you have no rhyme or reason or routine to your daily life, which I do struggle with from time to time. And that is actually one of the things I've said to Alan, like, I can't do this, I don't know how I'm going to keep going. There has been moments where I've thought, I'm not going to do anything to myself, I'm not going to hurt myself, I'm not going to do anything like that. I don't feel like the need that I'm not happy, like I am happy, but I do feel sometimes like that overwhelming feeling, and it makes me feel like, how am I going to get through the next day? Like, how am I actually going to survive tomorrow? How am I going to do it? Like, I don't know if I can take being shouted at anymore by this little person that has no resolve, has no compromise button. You can't do that. Like, there are moments when you're just like, oh my God, please somebody come and help me, because I'm really, really struggling. And as I said before, I'm really, really lucky that I do have people close by that would do that for me if I needed them to. And there has been the odd occasion when I've needed to. I actually was really, really sick, like diarrhea and sickness one day, and I phoned up Alan's mum and dad and was like, listen, somebody has to come and take this child, because I can't be crawling into the bathroom to shit myself and look after him. It's just not happening. And I take my fucking hat off to not only parents of one child, two children, any more than one children, but also to single parents. Oh my god, if you're a single parent and you're doing it all on your own, and you've maybe got a couple of kids, 2 or 3 kids, I fucking take my hat off to you. I do not know how you do it, and I know you just find a way, don't you? You just find a way to do it. It's the same, like, how do you do it when you've got one and then you transition to having 2 kids? You just find a way. But at this point in time, as a mother of a 9-month-old, I'm like, anybody who's doing that is a literal fucking angel, I assure you. Because it ain't easy. I sat the week before Christmas, me and Jack, sitting in front of the washing machine was on, crying. Not because of the washing machine was the only thing that was keeping him settled and quiet and chilled for 5 minutes. And I was like, yeah, let's just sit here. Let's just sit here for 5 minutes. It just takes it out of you. Like, you never realise it until you're in it. It's just the most fucking stressful situation. But yeah, where do we go from here? What do we do? How will I keep making YouTube videos? You know, it's probably going to be a little flaky, but I would like to think that I can keep it up. How old is this blusher, by the way? It's in the old MAC packaging, but I feel like it's called Breezy. It's kind of plummy pink, and I feel like this might just go really nicely with this kind of magenta type monochrome look. So we're going to put on quite a lot of it. I think I am going to continue to make YouTube videos for as long as I can, for my own fucking sanity, because this is my escapism. Like I say, if I was going to the gym for an hour a day, or if I was escaping of an afternoon of a week to go and meet a friend for a coffee, nobody would bat a fucking eyelid. But you want to do this for a couple of hours during the week, and it's like, oh well, that's not real, that's not needing to be. No, it is, it absolutely is. And if something like this, or maybe playing a computer game, whatever it is that your vice is the thing that is keeping you sane, fucking do it. Make time for it. Make sure people need to know you need time for it. And as I said already, I am fucking blessed that I have a really understanding partner. He plays guitar, he likes the gym, he likes climbing mountains, all that kind of stuff, that we very much are like, do you know what, we need to make sure we are still making time to do these things, and making time to make sure the other one can do it. At the moment, actually, while I'm filming this, he's currently watching Better Call Saul, because he's like, I haven't had any time just to chill out in front of the telly and just watch something that I've wanted to watch, because I'm either with Jack, I come in, I make the dinners, I do this, I do that, I help you put him to bed, I do whatever, and then like I'm knackered and I just go to my work the next day and I start it all over again. So it's difficult for any parent, whoever you are. If you are a parent of a small child, many small children, you need to make that time. You need to make that time for you. I forgot how lovely that MAC blush was. Maybe not to the extent that I put it on today, but it is a really fucking nice colour. And you know what else I'm going to talk about just as I put on a lip here? I think as well, something to remember, that something that's really important is, a lot of people, like, they'll say, oh, what you see in social media isn't real. What you see on social media, they're just posting the good stuff. And I tend to agree with that. But I also think, for instance, someone could accuse me of that if they wanted. Like, you're just putting up on your Instagram nice little photo of Jack, everything is happy-go-lucky. Like, you're not mentioning the fact that you're sitting in front of the fucking washing machine having a crying fit. But for me, it's a little bit like, I don't want to always put that stuff out there. Not because I'm not saying it's not happening. I'm not trying to kid on like life is all fucking peachy. But when we used to take photos with a camera and put them in photos albums, my light has just died on that side, I'm really sorry, this is what you get. But when we used to take photos with a camera and put them in photo albums, you didn't put in the photos of when someone was necessarily having a tantrum, did you? You maybe kept them. You maybe kept them and been like, oh look, there's so-and-so at 2 years old having an absolute flaky on holiday. But you didn't take those photos. I don't even imagine that in this day and age, if your child is having a tantrum in the middle of a supermarket, you're going to stop and get your phone out to take a photo, are you? Like, you're just not going to do that. So it's really easy to kind of accuse people of being like, oh, do you know what, you're just putting all the good stuff out there, you're not talking about the hard stuff in motherhood. And don't get me wrong, there is the odd influencer where I'm a little bit like, life can't be that peachy. Come on hen, it can't be that peachy. But there's also part of me that's like, well, I don't put that stuff up on social media because I haven't taken photos when that moment happens, but also it's probably been a really stressful occasion for me and I don't really fucking want to remember that moment either. But I do think it's important that every now and again we come on and have a chat like this and say, listen, everybody's fucking going through it, don't worry about it. And like I said, in the hope that people will agree with me and say, yo, yeah, okay, totally on board with that, totally understand it. There are a load of things like I find as well, people want to impart advice on you quite a lot as well, even when you've not asked for it. And it's not a bad thing. I think like it's maybe just an intrinsic mother thing that people think, oh, do you know what, I'm gonna tell them what I done in that situation and maybe it'll help. And sometimes that's really helpful, and other times you're a little bit like, I wasn't asking for advice, I'm just having a vent, I just want to have a vent. And that's important too. You need to remember that, like, just reassure the person and be like, listen, I've been there, if you need any help I'm happy to give you some advice if you want it. Sometimes people impart advice and they don't quite realise, like, maybe the person wasn't actually asking for advice, maybe they just wanted to be like, wow, is it just me? Like, am I losing my mind here? And I think that's true of many things, not just parenthood on social media. Like, people automatically want to give you advice on things and you're a little bit like, wasn't looking for advice, just wanted to put it out there that I'm struggling a little bit today. But as for this video, I am absolutely putting out there that if you want to share your woes with me, if you want to tell me, do you know what, I've been through it too, tell me your worst fucking point. Tell me, you know, you've been on their floor, you've been looking at the washing machine like me. You know, just tell me it's not just me. I want to know it's not just me. Either that or tell me, what is your vice? What is your thing that you like to do that means it keeps you a bit fucking more sane for a little bit longer? I think that is me. I kind of fucking love this look. I am going to try and get my other light to come on so that you can see it properly before I sign off. Okay, so we've got some super highlight here. We've got a lot of blush. Red eyeshadow, we've got glitter, we've got sheen, we've got everything. But I kinda love it. I really like it. And I think as well, like, you know, new year, new me, fucking new colour of the year, all that kind of stuff. Let's do stuff that make us feel good. Let's do stuff that keep making us feel good. Anyway, that is where I'm going to leave it. By the way, if you know what this t-shirt is, you're a fucking legend, mate. Absolute fucking legend. Actually, leave down below if you know what this t-shirt is. I would love to know. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there with this one. I'm sorry if this has been a bit lengthy, but I just wanted to come on and have a fucking ramble about the madness that is being a parent and motherhood. It's fucking mental, guys. I hope you're all having a lovely new year. I hope you don't mind that going into 2023 it's going to be a little bit more difficult for me, but I'm going to try my best to get content out there because, as I have said loads of times in this video, this is something that means a lot to me. It means a lot to my mental health. So I'm going to try my best to continue with that, but when I go back to work, fuck knows. Fuck knows what's going to happen then. But anyway, I'm going to leave it there and I hope to see you all again soon. Bye!